Welcome back to Exploring Shasta County History. I'm your host, Jeremy M. Tuggle. Today we are exploring Redding'S old swimming holes, what remains of them, and what's left of them to view. Redding'S first swimming hole was situated at the so-called Waterwheel Ditch at the north end of Pine Street along the Sacramento River from about 1890 to 1916 for a total of 26 years. This popular swimming hole received its name from a wooden water wheel constructed on site by local pioneer settler Gottlieb Dieselhorst. Dieselhorst erected the wooden water wheel at that location in 1890, which measured at 40 feet in diameter and contained numerous wooden buckets, which scooped up the water while the wheel revolved and dumped it into this ditch to irrigate his property. This water wheel and its accompanying ditch was purportedly owned by Dieselhorst at the time, who eventually passed this land down to his son, John Dieselhorst. Like any swimming resort, swim competitions and events were held here at Brown's Swimming Resort at the end of Pine Street. In this article by the Courier Free Press of July 26, 1904, it states, Theodore Jones won the race. Great Sports Sunday at the Brown Boating Resort. F.L. Brown was also known as Ned Brown. That's who he is in this article. Over 1,000 people visited Ned Brown's popular boating resort at the head of Pine Street Sunday, and Brown says it was the biggest crowd that has ever been seen at the spot. The principal event of the sports was the swimming race between Theodore Jones and Eugene Urban. Jones won in the race and carried off the $10 purse. The winner now challenges any amateur swimmer for a race next Sunday. Lewis Owens won the honors in the boys swimming race. Eddie Gardner made the best high dive, and Milton McConnell captured the prize in the boys boat race. Later on, in October of 1905, John Dieselhorst leased this land to F.L. Brown and the Middle Island in the Sacramento River above present-day Turtle Bay for a period of 10 years, as mentioned above, which was often referred to by locals as Dieselhorst Island. Unofficially, Brown established his municipal resort at that location. His business boomed with outdoor recreational fun for people interested in swimming and boating. This historic water wheel was surrounded by the natural beauty of the river and inland, which warranted many swimmers and boaters to the area. Wooden bleachers were placed on the bank so people can sit and watch others swim. There was no lifeguard on duty. The area was to be swam at your own risk. A rope swing was utilized by many swimmers, jumping off of it in mid-air into the river. The rope was attached to a large oak tree directly over the swimmers, and a large platform or wooden wharf was built along the water's edge, which helped them jump from the inland into the river itself. This Courier Free Press newspaper column from August 19, 1907, reports the following. Ed Ziem, who drives one of Jacobson's delivery wagons, met with a painful accident while swimming at the Wheel Ditch Sunday. In diving, he cut one of his heels so badly that he was compelled to stay at home Monday and may be laid up for several days. The above water wheel ditch property and the island of the Sacramento River were later condemned in court by the Anderson Cottonwood Irrigation District against Dieselhorst, who wanted the property under the law of eminent domain. This law gave power to the Anderson Cottonwood Irrigation District to take this private property for public use, provided that paid compensation was given to Dieselhorst. Eventually, in May of 1916, both parties came to an agreement upon the damages owed to Dieselhorst, and all litigations were avoided, while the rest of the suit was cleared from the court calendar. It was mentioned that the water wheel ditch would be destroyed, and the construction on the tunnel work could begin without any interference. Like all swimming holes in the region, it made the hot, sizzling days of Redding'S bolstering heat cooler for local residents. If you look closely enough at the photo on the screen, in the background is the water wheel. Secondly, if you look closely enough again, you will see a swimmer hanging onto the rope in mid-air about to make a splash into the river. The above articles from the May 23rd, 1916 Searchlight newspaper of Redding. However, once the Anderson-Cottonwood Irrigation District was granted an irrigation right by the city of Redding to take water out of the said water wheel ditch and to tunnel under Redding, Brown's business at the end of Pine Street waned. Discussions for a new swimming hole location and a brand new municipal resort for swimming and boating was now a top priority for the city of Redding in 1916. A brand new location was eventually selected by the city of Redding, who picked a site north of the former water wheel ditch. This new site was still situated upon land owned by Diesel Horse just up the river. In 1917, the water wheel was dismantled by the beginning construction of the Anderson-Cottonwood Irrigation District, and the site was converted with the advent of it coming into fruition. Today, nothing remains of this historic water wheel. One can see the site on foot, crossing the Market Street Bridge and looking south downstream on the right-hand side of the bank. The following opinion was published by the Shasta Courier newspaper, a local media outlet from Shasta County, on July 13th, 1919. Redding is missing bet by not having a swimming resort. Would make city place to be sought rather than avoided in summer, says visitor. William B. Kendall of San Francisco, who did some fancy diving at the Free Bridge the other night, says Redding has wonderful natural advantages for a river resort. If ever a city administration had an opportunity to do something for the voters and their families, would Redding trustees have a genuine opportunity, he said. I have been traveling through this part of the state for years and have taken particular notice of the advantages of one town over another for creating a popular public resort where the townspeople could spend many happy, healthy hours during the hot season. Redding, situated almost on the banks of the Sacramento River with every natured advantage for a bathing resort, seems to be rather careless as to its opportunity. A similar condition existed at Marysville until an enterprising party with little knowledge of resorts came along and put up a few frame buildings on the banks of the Feather River, a few large rafts with safety ropes connecting them, and now the people of Yuba City and Marysville pay for a privilege that for a very small sum the city could have given them. There isn't a more healthier recreation and exercise for old and young than swimming, and I'm honestly under the impression that the cities that have a very warm summer are under a handicap as regards new residents and keeping of old ones at the home during the heat of the summer. There are a few cities famed for their water resorts that do not have as warm as a climate as Redding, yet taking their natural advantages and developing them, they attract rather than repel thousands from their hometown, all of whom spend considerable money away from home that their city derives no benefit from. It is just a matter of time before some individual or company grasp the opportunity that Redding apparently overlooks. Surely Redding can be made a desirable summer town, especially when an investment of a few $100s would serve to entertain the public as well as to attract and keep at home many times. That sum which is spent each Sunday at some of the neighboring towns with more favorable climate. Wake up, Redding. Come to life. Don't sit on the lawn and puff and perspire and pray for a cool breeze. Get into your bathing suit and make for the beautiful, cool, healthful, refreshing Sacramento River. An hour or so there, and you'll come home fit and happy. Instead of the traveler passing the word along to fellow travelers as to what a hot hole Redding is, they'll advertise your town as the town with the river resort. On July 4th, 1920, the Searchlight newspaper of Redding reported the following: Swimming hole ready. The city's swimming resort was completed yesterday. As to the installation of tank, platform, diving board, and raft, everything is now ready for bathers of all sizes and ages. Before the construction of Shasta Dam was completed in 1945, the water of the Sacramento River was very tolerable for swimmers to swim in. From lukewarm to warm water, it was enjoyable for swimmers of all ages to free swim and participate in swimming competitions. Some welcoming additions were made in 1923 when the city of Redding employed Mrs. Marion Sanderson Dimmick as the first supervisor of the local swimming hole. She was paid a salary of $75 per month, along with Robert Hill, who was given the title of lifeguard. Before these two were hired by the city, it was pretty much the main area to swim in, but at your own risk, while supervision lacked at the swimming hole. This is the only remaining infrastructure left behind from the diving boards at this location. As you will see, the holes in the concrete is from the infrastructure as well. That's what you're seeing in these videos as I'm scanning the bridge here at this location and pier of the bridge where the diving boards were. A group called the Ancient Egyptian Order of Skyites, also known as Skyites for short, were active in California as a fraternal and social organization for master masons who won themselves some praise for their charity work in establishing a water festival in Redding, which they officially called the Redding Water Carnival. On July 2nd, 1924, it was announced in the local media outlets that this water carnival would be sponsored and hosted by them during a 3-day event from August 30th through August 31st and concluding on September 1st, 1924, which made local headlines. According to one excerpt of an article, it stated, "One of the drawbacks to hold anything at the river has been the lack of a grandstand. The argument has been that there would be no use to have a celebration without a grandstand, and that would cost too much to build. The Scouts Committee will erect a grandstand that will seat 1,000 people and will build it so it can be taken down and stored and be available for future celebrations in years to come. For this is to be Redding's first annual water carnival." By August 15th, 1924, Redding local Rolf Seltzer, a chairman of the Scouts, began erecting the brand new grandstand at the local swimming area with the help of his fellow brotherhood for the upcoming Redding Water Carnival. Tons of material were utilized by Seltzer and his crew, some of which included 25,000 feet of lumber, 2.5 tons of steel, 5,000 bolts, 2,000 lock washers, and 1,000 angle washers. There are a number of unusual things about the structure. First, it will be demountable. Not a nail will be used, and everything will be bolted or screwed. The structure cost was $2,500. The Scouts expected to have it installed before the grand opening of the event on August 30th, 1924. The first annual Redding Water Carnival featured the following intriguing events for local spectators to enjoy: water sports, Pacific Coast champions, and 100 stars in swimming and diving, leg rolling, tub races, balloon races, candle races, egg and spoon races, pigeon races, and clothes races, life-saving races, tandem races, canoe races, etc., and the blood-curdling fire dive. Bathing beauty reviews: 50 beauties from the San Francisco and Northern California areas in bathing costumes that you never see except for in the movies and seldom there. Gorgeous pageants from among the queens selected by each town will be chosen in a setting of royal splendor and crowned with a lavishness that will astound you. Rental robes for queen and her attendants alone represents an investment of $1,500. Spectacular fireworks. One of the many thrillers of the carnival will be the fireworks displays. No expense has been spared to make this the biggest thing ever done in Northern California. Fairyland afloat. Parades of galley decorated floats, brilliantly lighted and bewitchingly beautiful, will be one of the many night features. The Isle of Joy. Here especially will joy run riot. 20 concessions will provide excitement and mirth unrestrained for the thousands who will crowd the carnival. Dancing, golfing, among other things, included in the festivities of the water carnival. Season tickets, which included all 6 shows, were sold to the general public for $1, while single tickets to this water festival were sold for 50 cents each. Each year since 1924, the Redding Water Carnival got bigger and better and included professional swimmers and divers, baseball games, and much more on a grand scale. Prior to 1930, the Redding Chamber of Commerce backed the city of Redding to purchase the land of Cape Benton on the north side of the Sacramento River, which was at that time private property. The city found swimmers accessing it from time to time, which warranted the group's interest in obtaining the land to prevent problems at the site. This land consisted of 12 acres of land which ran through the middle of the river. It was realized at that time that the Benton property could be purchased to further develop the Redding swimming hole and municipal resort on the north side of the river. On August 6, 1930, the Record Searchlight reported the following. Chamber wants city to buy Benton land for swimming hole. Members of Wednesday luncheon unanimous in asking chamber directors to urge city council to buy site across the river. Members of the Reading Chamber of Commerce by a unanimous standing vote went on record Wednesday noon in favor of the city buying and developing a municipal swimming resort on the north side of the Sacramento River. Those at the luncheon asked that the chamber directors go on record to this effect and urge the city council to take necessary action at once. This movement was started several years ago. The proposal being to purchase about 12 acres of land from Mrs. Kate Benton, this acreage including running to the middle of the river. It is understood that the purchase can be made at this time at a reasonable figure, and businessmen want the city council to make the purchase and develop the property. On August 14, 1930, the Courier Free Press newspaper Redding reported the following. Council buys tract for municipal swim resort across river. Redding's new bathing beach will be almost 2 city blocks long. Decision of council meets with public favor. Members of the City Council Wednesday evening voted to purchase tract of land on the north side of the Sacramento River for a municipal swimming resort, and thus divided thousands of local citizens who for years have been wanting this move to be made. The purchase will be made for Miss Kate Benton. The tract extends south from the highway bridge, almost 2 city blocks. The price is $3,250, which is considered a low price, considering the long river frontage. While the board looks forward to this being a showplace of Northern California, there will be no disposition to rush its development. As money is available for this purchase, it will be spent in improvements. It has been suggested that its improvement as an amusement center could be speeded by leasing dance platform and other concession, with the understanding that after a short term of years, the improvement would belong to the city of Redding. Plenty of room. The river frontage will be ample for a bathing beach, boathouse, and anything else the public feels necessary for a municipal water resort. The land slopes to the river, making a natural base for a concrete grandstand. A short distance south of the bridge is a slope. With a little work, this can be cleaned out and made an ideal pool for the children. One of the greatest advantages of the new track, that there are acres of room for parking. No matter how large future water events at Redding's municipal playground, there will be ample room to park the machines of spectators. Conversation on the streets Thursday indicated that Wednesday night's move of the city council was one of the most popular things done at the city hall in a long time, and there have been a lot of them in recent years. 478 feet on river. The newly acquired ground fronts 478 feet on the Sacramento River, running easterly from the East Highway right-of-way line, making a right angle at the eastern extremity. The lines run north 229.30 feet, thence westerly 200 feet, thence 200 feet, thence westerly to the east line of the highway right of way and perhaps beyond. Reports needed. The council's motion was made sufficiently broad to include the land west of the highway if possible. The action will be dependent upon the report of the city attorney as to title and to the city engineer as to description. The council approved purchase following an inspection near of the property yesterday afternoon. Taking the reins from the Scots of this water festival was the Junior Reading Chamber of Commerce Committee, who submitted a report to the Reading Chamber of Commerce on May 3, 1933, renaming the event as the Lake Reading Regatta. The Junior Reading Chamber of Commerce brought on the National Outboard Motor Association in favor of those setting new national records which may be set during the event here in Reading. And of course, the railroad trestle was built in 1940. So Shasta Dam was completed till 1945, which drastically changed the feel of the water for local swimmers. And so it was here at the time of the swimming hole. There it is.
It's right there! I think I might be able to get that. I drove far.
These wooden forms or wooden beams, which you see here in this video, which the arrow points at, are the remaining wooden form or wooden beams constructed for the kiddie pools and boundary lines in the swimming resort at this location on the north side of the Sacramento River. There's concrete right here. Look at this, how this tree grew right through them. See what I mean? Or I guess on top of it, it grew. But that is wicked. And of course, there's the river trail. It's amazing this is even still here. By 1937, the north side of the Sacramento River at this location included the following. The bathhouse containing lockers for men and women in its two separate divisions is now open. A few keys are available, although most of the locker occupants still have their keys from last year. A 25-cent deposit charge is asked for keys, which may be obtained from Mrs. Dimick. The concession stand is now being renovated and will be open for business in a few days. However, considerable damage was done to the swimming hole in December 1937 due to the flooding of the Sacramento River at that time by local area thunderstorms. High water washed away and damaged the site on the north side of the river at the State Highway Bridge along historic Route Highway 99, also known as the Pacific Highway. The city of Redding started making repairs to the site in February of 1938. As mentioned in this article, a crew of 20 WPA workers under city supervision have started work on the Redding Municipal Swimming Resort, repairing damage done by floods this winter. A pile driver is being constructed for the purpose of driving piles under concrete seats, approximately 400 of which must be rebuilt as a result of flood damage. Walls in the park are being rebuilt and all debris from the flood has been cleared away. Grass, which was sown in the lawn last fall, has attained a good growth. New swimming gear and new rafts were purchased by the city because most of this equipment washed away downstream in the flood by the river's swift current. These brand new items were put out in time for the start of the swimming season for swimmers to rent. A fresh quantity of sand for the kiddie pool was added to its shoreline as well. New buoys were also placed in the river for boat traffic too. Wooden forms or wooden beams were installed along the Sacramento River's shorelines in certain areas which marked boundary lines and marked off areas that gave swimmers a feeling for the depth of the water they were in. These wooden forms or wooden beams are still present in the water to view today, as shown in the video. In the above photos, one can see an example of the flooding that the Sacramento River used to have prior to the completion of Shasta Dam in 1945, which shows the Diesel Horse Bridge at the swimming hole. This example is from 1938. The above example is from 1940. Of course, the local swimming hole was home to the Lake Redding Regatta, luring tourists to Redding in the 1930s. Look up. The sign painted on the bridge pier in front of you advertised the annual Lake Redding Regatta hosted by the Junior Chamber of Commerce. The regatta was held in mid-July from 1933 to 1939, prior to the construction of Shasta Dam. Each year, the correct dates for the two-day event would be repainted in the lower right corner. In 1933, the newspaper reported, "Throng at water meet, with swimming and diving events, outboard motor races, dancing, wrestling, baseball, and live bands playing for the evening dance. Participants in races came from all over California and Oregon. In 1933, the prize money for boat races was $400, and in 1939, it was $600. Prize categories included 3 classes of hydroplanes, service runabouts, and racing runabouts. The regatta was a big deal for Redding to promote the event as a tourist destination. Mayor E.H. Loudon issued a proclamation in 1933 using the citizens to extend in every way possible the spirit of hospitality and friendliness to our visitors. This annual regatta event stopped because of dam construction and World War II. Then in 1949, the 20 to 30 Club and the Junior Chamber hosted a racing regatta for boats only, as the water was too cold for swimmers after dam construction. This continued into the 1950s. Alright folks, thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, please smash that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We'll see you on the next episode.